You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
And we're back, everybody.
Yo.
What a week. Again, what another week.
So, we're back here at the podcast, and of course we're doing what we do. Give you all the latest and greatest on what's going on with Zod and Dre, and we try to involve you. We got a couple of good topics here. It's been a good week, though. It's been a really good week, as usual, over here in Arizona. The weather's getting a lot better.
It's extremely hot, though, right now. It just seems a little weird of how hot it got.
Yeah, it's getting a little warm. It's like it pretty much skipped the 80s. Skipped the 80s.
We didn't see it.
We didn't see the 80s. It was cool for a while, and then it hit the 70s. It was beautiful out. Going at night was just a little bit chilly, but it was still tolerable. And then all of a sudden, boom! It just was 90 degrees.
Yeah, like high 90s all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, 94. So we're already in for probably a blazing summer over here in Arizona. So a lot of the people were suffering blizzards and all that other stuff across the country. We were dealing with some really nice weather. So I can't get too mad at it though. But it's going to be crazy in June.
Yikes.
May, June, July,
Gross.
August, and September are going to be ridiculous.
Hopefully we'll be doing some traveling and taking this show on the road and getting into places that'll be a little cooler.
Exactly. And, be able to interview some people, see what they're talking about.
So, what are we talking about today?
So we're going to be talking about some good stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but all the Marvel cinematic TV shows, they have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they have some other things that they've had, on cable network. On regular network TV. But on Netflix, they've had what they're building up to be is the Defenders series. Which is, you don't know?
No, you saw my face like, huh?
Yeah, you haven't read the Marvel book that I got out there that Neil bought me for Christmas. But,
I got distracted by the shiny pictures.
It's Luke Cage. It's a whole New York thing. So it's Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. So that's why they put them out in the way that they did, because they're doing a build-up. But the next thing they're shooting right now, which is supposed to be out in the summer, is Defenders, which is all four of them. So that's what it is. So right now we're going to wind up talking a little bit about Iron Fist for our movie review, if you want to call it a movie. The off topic is going to wind up being birth control. Yeah,
this is a subject that has been part of half of my life, so I think it's something to talk about.
And finally, the big one's going to be, in what ways have gender roles changed for newer generations? So we're going to wind up talking about that and getting into some conversation about that.
This'll be good.
Let's get this podcast going. Let's talk about Iron Fist real quick.
Yeah. Now, I've seen one episode so far.
You've seen one. I've seen about 10. I think I think I'm on number 10 now. So I started binge watching everything. Of course, after Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, and of course Daredevil. Daredevil had seasons 1 and 2 already. It's the only one out of them that did. Now, if you guys aren't really into the whole Marvel universe or superheroes and things like that, the way it works is, Daredevil is part of Hell's Kitchen, New York. And it's funny because the Hell's Kitchen that they talk about in Daredevil's like, Hell's Kitchen, it's just, the grimiest place where we can't do it.
Use the voice.
Now, in the comic books, that's how Daredevil, Hell's Kitchen, New York is, Wilson Fisk is taking over the crime underworld. And,
Fisk, he's good. Yeah.
If you go to Hell's Kitchen in New York today, it is the most gentrified, Starbucks cafe latte loving, fucking tofu eating fucking place. So it's nothing like it is in the Marvel universe. So they kind of try to stick with the comic book way of doing it. And Daredevil is, of course, the blind lawyer who Matt Murdock, who goes and saves the day. And then we have Jessica Jones, who's super powered. We don't really fully explain, I don't think. I got to look into it again, how she got her powers, but she's just powered. She's very strong.
Yeah, it was like she had as a kid.
Yeah. I think she may have been experimented on. Mm-hmm. But she's just very strong. She's a detective, drunk, and all that other stuff. And then, of course, we have Luke Cage, who's the brother man from Harlem. To me, out of all of them, he had the best series. His series was incredible. Then probably Daredevil, then Jessica Jones, which I really loved all. And then we got Iron Fist, who's a guy who was in a plane crash when he was a kid with his parents up in the Himalayas, got picked up by a couple of monks, learned how to become the Iron Fist, which is it's a generational thing that's passed on, and he becomes the Iron Fist. So this is where we're building it, and then he comes back to New York to find his name on the building. He's like, oh my god, that's my building. He's barefoot. He fits right in. He looks like a hipster.
Even less than a hip. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
People were like giving him change.
Homeless hipster. So he looks like a homeless hipster. But some of these guys, like freegans, dumpster divers, things like that. But this guy was really the heir to ownership in a company that would make him a billionaire. But he really just wanted to come back home because he hadn't seen his people in 15 years. He's been gone in the Himalayas since the crash, but he had been pronounced dead. So of course there's hesitation and reservation about who this guy's identity is, and you pretty much start picking up who the bad guys are going to be. The brother sister team of Joy and Ward, and then I don't want to give away spoilers into it, but out of the whole series of all of them, the Defenders, like Iron Fist to me is the weakest. It's funny, my sister had warned me about it. Said she and her boyfriend were binge watching it, and her boyfriend gave it a 6.5 out of 10, and my sister, who's not into these movies or anything, gave it a 0.65 out of 10. Said it was so stupid. So I mean, she's always so much fun to watch these things with anyway, but she wasn't really feeling it. I don't know how many episodes she got in. I'm on episode 10, and Claire Temple, who's played by
Rosario Dawson?
Yep.
Oh, Claire's back.
So she's back. So she's the link between all of them.
Okay. So in your opinion so far, since you've seen 10 of them, how do you think that Iron Fist kind of does it wrap it all together?
He doesn't wrap anything together. He's just another segment. He's completely sectional and sectioned off. But I like the woman in it, Colleen Wing. I like her. I like her character a lot. I like her better than Iron Fist. I think the guy they got to play him is pretty good. He does a good job at what he's supposed to do. But some of the kung fu I think should be a lot more exaggerated. The fight scenes in Daredevil I think were better. This guy's supposed to be the Iron Fist.
Good.
Yeah, this guy's supposed to be the Iron Fist. He's supposed to be like the best thing since sliced bread. And you watch the show and motherfuckers are just kicking his ass. And I'm
That's odd.
Yeah, and I'm like, Daredevil would whoop his ass. Like, Daredevil would whoop his ass, go home all bruised up, but he would have whooped his ass.
Stabbed. I mean, a Daredevil got so beat up.
So far, what I'm thinking, I think, my sister's boyfriend is probably right. It's probably like a 6.5 out of everything. So we'll see where it goes.
Like you said, he's part of the Defender group. So.
Yeah, so Defenders is supposed to be coming out, I believe, this summer. So that's going to be good if they're really doing that. So I will watch that, though. Yeah, so, anyway, it is what it is. Check out Iron Fist and let us know what you guys think.
Yeah. But no spoilers.
No spoilers, though. No spoilers. Just let us know what you think.
Yeah, so next topic.
So off topic, we're going to talk about birth control. This is going to be more you than me, but, let me know what you think.
Well, I just been wondering lately, especially with all of the healthcare issues coming on regarding Congress and Planned Parenthood, and really looking at the, what we call the attack on women's health, right? And birth control is such a hot topic and issue. Birth control has been part of my life, right? And it's kind of like almost, it feels like it's a responsibility for women, that it's a coming of age. Like, okay, you're at that age where you're sexually active. Now, how are you going to take care of yourself? How are you going to keep yourself healthy? How are you going to make sure that you don't have an unwanted pregnancy? So much to go on in a young woman's mind, right? And I always wonder, for men, do you have that type of coming of age, or is it simply just here's a condom and just don't get a girl pregnant, not going through the whole preparation, and it's almost very unfair, and I always wonder too, what if the responsibility was completely on men? Would men be willing to take hormones? Would you be willing to get crazy surgery and instruments inserted into your body so that you don't produce sperm that can cause pregnancy? For women, the IUD is inserted into your body, which is this contraption to prevent pregnancy, but it causes so much damage and pain in women's bodies too. I mean, so much goes on. So I always wonder, would men be willing to take on that kind of responsibility versus of it all being on the woman?
I think men obviously have a responsibility, I guess you can say. And some of the legislation that they put out there is ridiculous because, these male lawmakers, and I'm really surprised that some of the female ones that go with it are regulating women's bodies in the way that they do. Abortion is not a birth control method.
No.
It's not. People know that. People who get abortions know that. People who do abortions know that. That's why it's not at a high friggin' frequency rate that people think that it is all the damn time. Believe it or not, teen pregnancies are getting lower. Abstinence is becoming a thing. I guess these kids are probably just on their phones so much that that they don't have time for sex or something like that. But when it comes to birth control, like the simplest method is just condoms. So you just slap that on, whatever, you do your duty and whatever. But sometimes it's like just in the heat of the moment, people are lazy and they do their thing. Women get pregnant, then it's like the bearing is on the women. I think a man's responsibility is to protect himself, to protect her, and I mean it goes both ways no matter what. One of the funny things that I saw online was if men, and I posed this question myself, and it's funny the answers of people that you get. The answers that you get from people is what's really funny, but it's would you support, okay, I asked, would you support boys at like 13, 14 forcefully having to get vasectomies until they have been married, to which they can reverse the procedure. Now I don't know, I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know if it sticks or what happens with all that. But if they wound up getting that procedure at that age, and then when they're married, then they're able to
get it reversed,
would they support that? And people stumble and they're like, oh no, like they, especially males, they do not want to hear that, because hey, that would solve a lot of things.
I know
that would solve a lot of things. Women wouldn't get pregnant, so you wouldn't have to really get your abortion issues going. There are things that would be completely lowered. Men don't want to hear that. They would still regulate. No, you know what? It's up to a woman. She better not get aborted, and I better do. It's like, hey, it can't work both ways,
So what was the excuse of why?
They never do. They never do. They never give an excuse. They never do. I swear on everything. If anybody's listening, ask that same question to any guy who's just like pro-abortion. Well, okay, well, if a boy is 13 years old, would you legislate for them to get vasectomies until marriage? So they would have to force vasectomies until marriage and make that a law. But that's just it. That would reduce all of it. Like, that would just reduce everything.
I would like to know why they were against that.
They do not want to, because they're going to find out that it's an invasion of
their bodies. Yes. Welcome to our world.
Yeah, but to them, shit, you know what?
I know that was a good topic. I think we have to continue that on another segment.
Subscribing to one of the following podcast methods: iTunes, Google Play, or YouTube. Visit our website at www.zodandrea.com to go directly to the links, or if you choose, you can listen to each podcast episode directly on the website under their individual posts.
Want to get involved and have your voice heard on the next podcast? Then be sure to tune in to the question of the week on our website, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram page. And dial in and leave a message on our voicemail at 323-963-4221.
If you're an advertiser who would like to have your 30-second or 1-minute placement on our podcast or YouTube episode, please contact us at info@zodandrea.com and we'll send you a price list. Space is limited for each episode.
The next podcast might even have you as a featured guest.
Tune in, check us out, and get involved.
All right, everyone.
That was a good topic.
So sorry about that. It went off a little bit, but let's get back into it. You know how these podcasts can go. So it's time to introduce our main topic of discussion, the one that you see on the graphic design. And that is, in what ways have gender roles changed for newer generations? We can even talk about, we're going to talk about some of the older generations as well, of course. But let's talk about these newer cats as well. Because they grew up in a whole different time. They grew up in a whole different time now.
Yeah, a whole different time. You've got a generation that has grown up around technologies being the center of everything. Right? Unlike us, where technology wasn't the center. It was more, hands-on labor or, opening a book, really kind of interacting socially, face-to-face versus just, over your phone or over your computer. So you've got that's a big factor in how a person develops their relationships and defies almost like a gender role. Like for me growing up, you knew, a man, as a married man or something, they had certain responsibilities, certain ways of themselves, certain behaviors that was passed on to them, right? Provide for that home, know how to change a tire, something breaks in the house, you've got a toolbox, how to fix some stuff, and that's how I learned how to fix stuff with my dad, even gardening and stuff. So I'm seeing with this next generation that one, lack of male involvement as far as like some of those older generations, and just interaction, really, like not getting your hands dirty in the garden, not getting your hands dirty when it comes to washing your own car even.
See, to me, in the generational role differences, it's just as simple as, back in the 50s or 60s, whatever, it's like, men went to work and women stayed home and cooked and took care of the kids. Like, it was just that simple. It was like everybody had their gender roles. Men would come back tired, men would come back tired, and, women would already have their dinner made, make sure my dinner made, and have his beer out, and he would sit and by the TV or whatever, reading his newspaper, and that's just how it is, on some Leave It to Beaver shit,
My lamb chops.
It's like, everybody's just, it was crazy. But that's how life was. It was really simple. It was basic hunter and gatherer. It was basic hunter gatherer. Hunter go out and beat the fish, whatever. Go fishing, come in, and woman go fry it. And that was the gender role. I don't know who made that up, but after women's lib and some of the other things that happened in the 70s and hippies and people got loose with things and probably, drugs, and but they finally opened up their minds to where it was okay for a woman to have a 9-to-5 job. I mean,
right.
Damn, they even made, a song about it in a movie.
Restricting
about it.
women for so long, finally, it imploded. And with the women's movement, it was shown that they're just as equal, just as smart, even smarter sometimes than men, depending on the industry. Yeah. So you had this upbringing, you're right, of women coming up and leading the households.
See, and then it winds up going... See, here's my thing with gender roles. Because there are certain things that people want in general, which is completely legit. Obviously, anything a man can do, women can do as well. I mean, mostly everything. I mean, I don't see what. Just like vice versa, mostly everything women can do, mostly men can do. It's a people thing. You have 5 fingers. Can you lift this up? It's pretty easy. It's just like in the military, it took forever for them to, allow women in, and then now all of a sudden gay people can't, shoot guns. I'm like, whatever. But now they finally have changed that around. But it's like even ranking soldiers, women are starting to get up a lot more. But I mean, you don't really hear a lot about 4-star female general. Like, you don't hear a lot about that, and I don't know why. So I'm sure a lot of things are still a boys' club, golfing,
Well, just like it was a Facebook page that was just found regarding the Marines. Mm-hmm. And
what was it?
It's I forget what the title was, but it was found that there was this Facebook page that Marines were posting pictures of also female Marines or females in sexual poses, half naked. And people were making remarks about it, so it's like, oh no.
Yeah, so
why'd
I mean,
they do that?
but and that's even gender role-ish.
Exactly.
Because you think about it this way, because it was largely men on this Facebook group of Marines posting females.
Yep.
A lot of military women. So it's like, what? Almost what I'm trying to think about in a gender role, is it more in tune? And I have to look into this, so don't think of me as sexist or anything, but why is it that women have so many photos naked of themselves by these men to where it was able to be posted?
See, I don't know. That's what it was. Was it just an intimate picture that they felt, okay, this is my boyfriend or this is my husband?
Yeah, I'm sure it was. And then, then they share.
And then, then the asshole then sends it over to his buddies and his friends and gets passed around.
Because what guys do is they do dick pics. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, they I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. It's like, hey, I got nothing to do. I'm holding my phone. I'm alone. Let me take a picture of my fucking dick. Let me get it hard. And click. And and maybe that's what it is because women aren't really interested in that shit. Men are interested in naked women. Men are way more visual. So that's why this group is so popular and whatever. But, in the gender role of it, the men got busted for being sexist.
Well, and it's also the comments that were made on the pictures. Like these were humiliating.
Oh man, they
were awful to these women, and even some of them were some of the comments were even targeted towards antagonizing rape and assault to these women.
Well, I mean, it reminds me of my man. Shout out to Billy Bush. It reminds me of my man Billy Bush and Donald Trump, to where he was saying the stuff on the bus, and what do they call it? Oh, that's it. Even Melania. That's just locker talk. That's just boy talk. That's just So it's like, would you advocate this as just boy talk? Would you say this is just boy talk in that same sense? And I don't want to hear hypocrisy on this. So gender roles have changed. So now let's flip it. Now let's talk about gender roles today.
Okay.
Now, I remember when hip hop was coming through, and I don't know about if it's gender role or if it's fashion, but like what I'm seeing now, even in hip hop. But you remember, God, man, when like Lil Wayne and them started wearing skinny jeans, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't know if it's a gender role thing, but it was all of a sudden men who are deeming themselves as heterosexual are wearing women's clothes, more or less. So you're wearing what women wear. Like somehow you saw those women's clothes and were like, yo, I bet I could rock that. And you put on some jeggings. And then men started wearing purses.
Yeah. Justin Bieber started wearing.
Yeah, like men, they call them merces, and they started wearing. Oh, this is my satchel. No, it's a purse. Trust me, dude. No, it's a purse. It's a purse. Now, granted, it's just fashion. Fashion is just fashion. You can do whatever you want with it. But it is a purse, and it is a gender bending thing, more or less, to where things are merging. And I sit there and I wonder, what is that purpose in fashion as well? There are a lot more women who wear suits. Women who have worn suits that were technically men. I mean, back in the day, women didn't wear pants; they wore bloomers and big old dresses and skirts and
But then to get up in the corporate ladder, they felt that they had to mimic men.
Yeah, more or less, it was a mimic of men. Yeah, and the war.
I think of Working Girl. Remember that movie where she walks into the office and all the head women that were in charge of the office all had on these masculine suits. You didn't want to show that you were feminine because then you wouldn't be taken seriously.
And you can do that, just like God, a whole thing about pantsuits, for Hillary Clinton. I mean, in today's
she was bashed for wearing those.
So it's like, was she supposed to wear skirts? It's her power. It's and that's women redeeming their power. In gender roles, now you get men who have taken on women's last names.
Yeah.
So let's talk gender roles. I mean, if we're going to talk gender roles, like let's do the swap. Men who have now gotten married, or even in some cases where women have proposed to the men.
Yes.
Technically, the men get on one knee, whatever, ask the parents, and then blah, blah, blah. But Halle Berry has done that. She has proposed to her future husband and whoever, I mean, she's been divorced like 12 times now, but, she is one person who's done that. But, some guys, I don't know anyone in Hollywood who's done it, but, there are men out there who have taken on women's last names.
Once they get married.
And
why would that happen? Like, tell me, do you know of anybody or have a conversation with any of your buddies on why they would take on their wives' last name?
Nobody I know would take on the last name. Me, I'm not into that. I'm not changing my name. And it's not that I'm a traditionalist. I just like my last name. So let's say you and I wound up getting married. You can keep your last name. I don't care if you keep it, whatever. And my thing is, I would just love for the kids to have my last name. Otherwise, if there's a compromise, then fine. But my former landlords over in Brooklyn, when I lived in Brooklyn, they had the same deal. Like, she had her last name, he had his last name. They were married, but the two boys had his last name.
Yeah, the family lineage last name.
Yeah, and it was all good. Like, it was all good. I was like, oh, this is dope. And, that was back in like 2000 or whatever. So it's very possible to do that, I
don't know. I mean, it's up to that couple's choice. Is it something then that I would do, that I would feel comfortable with you doing? If that happened with us and we were decided to get married, no, I'd want you to keep your name and I'd want to keep my name too. So again, not bashing, but it's just something that it's just not my cup of tea. And but again, it's up to them. It's up to what you would want to do. And going back to like when what we're talking about with music industry and what's fashion, what's not, it made me think then too of like the early 80s and the early 70s and the punk music and in that scene and the hair bands. I mean, if you look at a poster of, let's say, Rat, for instance, right? These guys got permed hair, makeup, full on like drag makeup almost, right? Trying to look like it's on this face, is above the face. It's like a woman's face, right? But then underneath, from the neck down, they're all macho and their ripped jeans and their leather. So, but yet they were never confused in the way of their message of, are we straight men or not? We're still a man, and their music was always about, taking on women. Oh, I want to sex you. I want to do this to you. I want to do that. But yet they were singing to me in lipstick and hairspray.
Yeah. So those glam rock guys, I never really understood those dudes, Cinderella and all them crazy looking bastards. But that was the thing. They had the teased hair. They had the tight pants. I mean, they were pretty much dressed like the women dressed back then.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally...
remember Lita Ford?
Yeah.
They looked like her.
They looked like her. I mean, it was literally just like that. But women loved it. They loved that. And you know what? I got to even shout out some of these people. Like, have you seen these guys on YouTube? On YouTube now, they have young dudes who, I mean, they wear makeup and they apply makeup and, like, on their faces better than women do.
Yeah. And
they give tutorials, too, on how to do it. And these are, like, young kids, pretty much doing all this stuff. And it's like, you think about the gender role of, I don't even know if they're gay or not. Like, I don't know if that's a cultural thing within the gay community. I don't know. It almost seems like it might be a cultural thing, maybe in a glam like or what are those cats you really like a lot? The dudes, drag queens.
Oh,
but
because it's an artistic
expression.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they like put it on thick and then be running around putting on wigs, and I'm like, it's gender bending. It's it's wild to me. It's something I don't understand, but maybe that has something to do with the gender role change in the fact that men and women have pretty much merged. They're merging in these generations that are going on. I know that in the military, to change real quick, they're proposing that women now have to also sign in for the draft.
Right.
I guess it's automatic that men do it. And there was like a lot of blowback, especially apparently really ironically from the conservatives, almost as if they want the gender role of women to be a certain thing. Me, I'm for it. I'm like, look, if you can shoot a gun and if this is what it is, then I don't understand why women wouldn't, and especially if women are going to be fighting for the equality of, there are a lot of things that come with that. Mm-hmm. It's like everyone should want to be able to do the same job. I don't know how you feel about it, but to me, it's like, look, why would women not sign up for the or not, like, why would it only be for men to be drafted into?
Right. I agree. And I look at even it's Israel, right? That
Israel. Oh yeah. And when they turn 18, yes.
Everybody serves, and I don't know if it's a forced on or a choice, but yeah, it's equality when it comes to that. If you want to fight, great, do it. Go fight. I think some of the conservatives are concerned that they're going to get the period on them if they happen to be in a bunker with another woman in the middle, because the period's contagious.
But I mean,
it tracks theirs.
But they're the ones who are with it, who are for it. That's just it. The conservatives actually were for it.
Oh,
they're the ones I think who proposed it.
Oh yeah, that's true. They did.
But
my bad.
To me, it's like, why not? A woman can shoot just as much, but I don't see why there would be any blowback for something like that. Plus, is the draft really coming back? I'm not fighting your fucking war. I'll just let you know that right now.
No, not doing it. So anyway, we could go on.
Yeah, so we can go on.
So many more
but let
discussions on this.
Let us know. What you think about this, because gender roles are something. So, that's it with this podcast. But we want to know, let us know what you think about gender roles in America, and have they changed for the newer generations, especially compared to yours?
Right, and birth control.
Yeah, and birth control as well. What do you think about that? Are you on it? Do you take it? Do you think that men should have some sort of birth control? They have some things. Condoms don't always work. let us know what you think.
Right. And also, too, if you're watching Iron Fist, let us know your thoughts about it.
Yep. And so you can always check us out at Zydandrea on the website, Snapchat, Instagram, everywhere else that we have at Zydandrea. So make sure you check us out on those things. And if you have some articles that you'd like to submit or some ideas, make sure you visit www.zydandrea.com and go to the contact area and submit to us some of your ideas.
And also, too, look at our events page. So this way you can see what's going on and what we're participating in throughout Arizona.
Yep, that's it. So hopefully we'll be able to see you there. All right, people?
Bye.